What's up, YouTubers? This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 coming to you with another video game review. At this time, I'm reviewing Final Fantasy 2 for the Famicom, which which was made by Square Enix, which was called Square at the time. And this is the sequel to the first Final Fantasy game that was released. And this particular game was like later remade on the Game Boy Advance, PSP, and PlayStation 1, and different mobile devices. And it's pretty much an RPG game, and it pretty much starts with Farion, Maria, Guy, and Leon, who were attacked by a group called Palamini, Black Knight soldiers and stuff, and they were practically left for dead. Like everybody but Leon was rescued and everything by Princess Hilda, who set up a rebel base after her kingdom was attacked by the Emperor. Now Furion, Maria and God went to look for Leon after she refused to let them go with the rebel soldiers to attack the Emperor. Now, and like after they pretty much rescue him, they go out and try to defeat the Emperor. Now, this particular game is a RPG like practically the entire franchise is. You pretty much freely roam about, going to like different cities throughout the game, and you pretty much like fight different types of enemies in the process through pretty much random encounter, which is one of the cliches in RPGs in general. Plus, the game is in a top-down view, which is another pretty much cliche with the majority of RPGs and stuff. Now, you can in a battle, you like pick which enemy that each character will attack or use a magic spell on. And you can pretty much face like between 1 and 4 enemies at a time. And there's like different types of enemies that you will fight through the course of the game, which includes the bosses. Now the bosses have certain like strengths and weaknesses and stuff, and you can use certain like magic attacks on them if they happen to be weak against some of the magic attacks, and actually some of them are not. So best thing to do is like Google Final Fantasy 2 boss and see which magic spells they're weak against, if they're immune, if they're weak to them at all. Plus you can find different types of magic spells and stuff that you will either find through the course of the game, or just like buy at the store. And the magic spells are like at different prices as far as the ones that you actually buy. Another thing about Final Fantasy 2 is that you do level up. You know what I'm saying? The different attributes that you have for leveling up are like stamina, magic, agility, evasion, stuff like that. Of course, there's more attributes, but I'm not gonna name them all. When you level up, you will pretty much be, the characters will be more skilled in handling the weapons that they are using and stuff. speaking of weapons, there's like different types of weapons. You have like bows, axes, swords, spears, maces, knives, and shields and stuff. Of course, and once you level up and be stronger, you like be more. Each character will be more skilled in handling the weapon that they're using. There's as far as the magic spells are concerned, you you will use different types of magic spells rather, and they will fall under like either white magic or black magic. And of course, each of them have a different effect once you use them. Of course, there's like also different items, armor, and battle items like stuff like that. Pretty much like the wind flute and stuff like that. That's a lot of stuff in here that you can use as far as the stuff that I'm talking about. I'm not gonna sit here all day and talk about that part, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can use. It pretty much enhances like the gameplay, even though in the early stages of the game, the hit detection isn't that good with that. As far as the graphics and the gameplay is concerned, I mean, I'll get to gameplay in a minute, but with the graphics and the design of the game, it is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? And it has a decent color palette to it also. You know what I'm saying? As far as the gameplay and the controls, they're good overall, but the hit detection isn't all that good in the early part of the game. You know what I'm saying? Because you can attribute it to being the attributes are not that high. You know what I'm saying? It would be better to say that you're not that strong. You know what I'm saying? You're not that skilled with the weapons, and I can honestly say with the magic too. But once you continue to level up, you'll get more skilled. But yeah, like the only complaint is that you're gonna miss half the time when you like try to attack the enemies with it by picking either attack or magic. You know. Now the soundtrack to Final Fantasy is pretty good, and it's probably the best aspect to the game in my opinion. And I do like the fact that there's different types of weapons, magic spells, armor at your disposal. And I do like the fact that each of these things pretty much increases the attributes depending on the armor, weapon, magic spell that each character gets. You know what I'm saying? So I do like that part. But the main gripe I do have for Final Fantasy 2 is that it never saw a North American release on the NES. Why they did that, I don't know. They did the same thing to Final Fantasy 3. It was only released in Famicom, as far as I know. But however, there was a North American release of Final Fantasy 2 on the Super Nintendo, but it's really Final Fantasy 4. To be truthful, when people first played that game and found out that this was really Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 3 and Final Fantasy 2 was only released in Japan, it left like gamers like scratching their heads and confusing. Why would and the confusion was like legitimate at the time that gamers found out about it, which leads the question: why wouldn't they not release Final Fantasy 2 and 3 on the NES and retitle Final Fantasy 4 Final Fantasy 2? That is really confusing there for Square Enix to do that. You know, if it was left up to me, I wouldn't call Final Fantasy 4 Final Fantasy 2 on the Super Nintendo. Like, change it. They should have had it like a different title or something. Like, I don't know, Super Final Fantasy or something like that. Instead of like renaming it Final Fantasy 2. It just really don't make no sense in that regard. But regardless, Final Fantasy 2 for the Famicom is a good game. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's not like the best Final Fantasy game in the franchise. And I honestly recommend it to retro gamers, any Final Fantasy fan who has a Famicom, and anybody who has a YouTube channel who is trying to do a let's play of all the Final Fantasy games in the franchise. Considering the number of Final Fantasy games that's been released, it's gonna like take a while. And I'm particularly talking about the games in the main Final Fantasy franchise. You know, as far as the score, I definitely give it an 8 out of 10 because it is good, even though there are some flaws to it. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, if you like Final Fantasy 2, and if you own the remakes, whether it's on PSP or the Game Boy Advance, you can mention that too. If you like my review of Final Fantasy 2, don't hesitate to click the thumbs up button. You can also share it. Don't hesitate to do that. And don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 signing off.